I'm here with marine toxicologist Dr. Ricky Ott down from Alaska here on the Mississippi coast, looking at our own oil crisis and trying to draw comparisons between what's happening in the Gulf of Mexico and what happened with the Exxon Valdez spill. And what word do you have for concerned citizens down here?
What happened down here is actually a lot worse in terms of not only amount spilled, but the dispersants used. And those chemicals were used at an unprecedented rate. This is an experiment Gulf-wide that has an unknown conclusion right now. I mean, the verdict is sort of out still on not only short-term and long-term harm, but also on effects to humans and to the seafood itself.
The dispersant we're talking about specifically in this case is Corexit, which is being used here with the BP oil disaster. Was that also used after the Exxon Valdez spill?
The Corexit 9527 was, and there were some other Corexit compounds as well. There were also other products used during the Exxon Valdez spill that had 2-butoxyethanol. That's the compound of concern, specifically in Corexit 9527. 2-butoxyethanol is a known human health hazard. It causes blood disorders and kidney problems, and it's a problem.
You're talking about kind of the human condition here. What about on the environment and on sea life and everything else that makes this part of the world, our culture, so unique in the Gulf of Mexico?
Well, you have two things going on here. One is you're 40% of the seafood sort of basket for America. But secondly, the coastline here is a lot more populated than what got oiled in Alaska. So I'm thinking that we should be concerned about both. Human effects plus effects on the ecosystem.
What would you say to people who said, if all of that is true, we can't trust our federal government, we can't trust BP, which a lot of people don't anyway, but what do you say to folks who want to have faith that the government would not let BP do this?
What I've seen in 21 years is the oil industry has become a lot more aggressive at trying to control the image. So controlling the image is about controlling liability, controlling future damages. So the less oil that spills, the quicker it's cleaned up, the quicker the appearance of back to normal, the lower the liability in the future. This is a direct result of leaving the spiller in charge of the cleanup. Everything gets filtered through this lens of how much is it going to cost me, rather than how bad is it for humans, how bad is it for the environment. So that's one big problem. The other thing in 21 years that I've seen is that the federal government is, for some reason, a lot more passive about monitoring and standing up to the spiller than it was 21 years ago. So at this point in time, I've actually been advising people to do their own samples of the air and of the water. And this is in direct response to people getting sick.
What kind of symptoms are we talking about here? If there is a pattern of symptoms, how would you characterize them?
Respiratory problems, central nervous system problems, and skin rashes. So respiratory problems, colds and flu-like symptoms, nothing that would be like in and of itself alarming. Central nervous system problems, headaches, dizziness, nausea, ear bleeds, and skin rashes, not just ordinary red rashes, but blisters to the point of so deep through the dermis and epidermis that it's causing scars.
In your opinion, then, what would be the impact on the safety of the seafood from the Gulf of Mexico?
I ate seafood through May, and then I pretty much stopped, and I'm going to wait until after the hurricane season. That's me personally.
Dr. Ricky Ott from Alaska, thanks for joining us.
Sorry to be so glum, but I mean, this is a bad scene, and you've got the hurricanes down here kind of making everything worse, and I just think as a precaution, people should, realize that this is a toxic hit in your backyard, and you need to be cognizant of that.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ott.